Philippe, there's a lot of love coming in for you in our comments. The sage of European football, says Sargon McKenny. And Mangesh says, always love listening to Philippe. Always insightful, calm and composed. One of the best pundits around. So, you know, we need to share more love. That's what we need to do in the world, to share more love.
Absolutely, more love. We want more love.
Exactly. One last thing, speaking of this, Eric Cantona is out at the moment with, he's voiced and helped produce a new documentary about the United Way. And you've got particular insight to Cantona. I'm always fascinated by what's Cantona's relationship like with France and the French?
Conflictual, ambiguous, uneasy. I think those three terms probably describe it better than anything else. I mean, the last I knew, actually, he used to live in kind of posh suburb of Paris, and he moved to Lisbon. And he's always, I'm not aware that he's gone back to France. I think he still stays in Portugal. Might be wrong. Apologies if I am. And he's always considered himself to be an English footballer. I mean, there's a lot, of course, there's a lot of, posturing when it comes with Eric. And so he says that to annoy people a little bit. On the other hand, he's as French can be. He's as Marseillais can be. But he has a very conflictual and strange relationship with France, and which has to do with the strange relationship he had with the French national team. And we shouldn't forget I've always maintained that he was a superb servant of the French national team up until a moment when things really went wrong. And, you know, the problem started with the hierarchy. But when he was called on, he always responded present. He had a fantastic goal-scoring record, which people have forgotten about completely. And his lack of luck was that he was part of a generation that didn't achieve what the previous generation had with Platini and the others, and what the following generation achieved with Zizou and company, which he could have been a part of, but he was just on the cusp, and famously refused to be part of the Euro 96 squad. And this completely taints his relationship with the country, because Eric Cantona sees the world as very much Eric Cantona's world. So everything is judged in relationship to what happened to him. And if he thinks he was in a way mistreated, or he was that his country betrayed him up to a point, then obviously you're going to have a very strange relationship with that. And he exasperates as many people as he enthralls them in France. People ask very often in France to see how seriously he's taken abroad, particularly in England. I would say that's the one thing that people say they can't believe quite he's taken as seriously as he is in England, and and that he's given things like he wrote this new documentary. Well, in France it wouldn't happen, would it?
It's really interesting. It's fascinating how he made another life for himself that's completely separate and different, and the perception is so different. And it's just it speaks to the human capability for redefining ourselves and rebirth and all that kind of stuff, and also for bearing grudges, because I feel like the grudge that he bears fed the fuel and the fire that he had at Manchester United.
I think it's one of these people who needs to be angry to succeed. As a footballer and perhaps as a man. It's actually a quality that is present in many top footballers. I remember talking to Thierry Henry about it, and he said that one of his defining qualities he thought was his anger, that he was never satisfied with anything. And Cantona needs to have, a peaceful Cantona is of no use to anyone. When he had his greatest season, which probably was 95 to 96, I would say. Would you agree with me? When he came back from suspension?
Yeah.
And he seemed to be a different character, and he seems to have calmed down when he did all this community service and so forth. And every time Manchester United scored, won 1-0, you could bet that the goal had been scored by Eric Cantona, and he seemed more at peace with himself. But in fact, I think it was just a pent-up anger, which was just like, it was on slow release, like a tire, just letting a little bit of air, rather than exploding, and in the end, and it actually ended with in the end in 96, 97, but he had this thing in him, he had to prove people wrong. I'm going to prove you. You thought I was wrong jumping in the crowd. You thought I was the wrong kind, that you could cast me out of football. I'm going to show you. I'm angry with you. I hate you. And this is what produced the best football of his life.
Yeah, fascinating stuff, Philippe. Great to have you with us this morning. Thanks a million.
Thank you.
Enjoy these games this week as well. It's Philippe Auclair, and as I said, a lot of love coming in for him on the text machine, 0879 180 180, if you want to get in touch. I'd watch the hell out of a 6-part, 2 hours per episode Eric Cantona documentary on.
Yeah, like that's the character they need to do it on. So the newest one is The United Way. I think it's coming out soon, and obviously they got the best man for the gig to narrate it and to be the voice of the whole thing.
What a changing room that would have been with like the young brooding Keane and the old brooding Cantona. Could you just imagine? Like, and them all on the absolute piss all the time. I wonder, was Cantona, did he like his nights out? Did he go out and have a few drinks with the lads?
I'd say in a very different way to how the British and Irish lads would have enjoyed their night out. Like, was Cantona a member of the Monday Club, the Tuesday Club, for example?
I don't think so.
I don't suspect he was.
I'd say that, you know, he might have been sitting there having an ale cocktail, maybe? A glass of wine?
I'd say an espresso.
Cigarette?
A cigarette.
A butane? OTB AM is live in association with Gillette. Good morning, start with Gillette, giving you the confidence to tackle the day ahead.